San Francisco, October 17, 1874. A courtroom heavy with whispers. A jury of 12 men sit rigidly, waiting for the testimony that could condemn or free the man before them. That man is Eadweard Muybridge, a photographer with strange eyes. Eyes that seem to see more than others. But in this room, he was not an artist or an inventor. He was an accused murderer. Muybridge had tracked down the lover of his wife and shot him dead. In front of the jury, he didn't deny it. He declared, "Yes, I killed him. I intended to kill him." This should have been the end of his story, but history has a strange way of bending. Instead of a gallows, this man would soon give the world a new way of seeing. He would prove what no one had ever proved before, that time itself could be frozen, and in doing so, he would become the father of motion pictures. This is the story of Eadweard Muybridge, the murderer, the visionary, the man who stopped time. Muybridge's life began far from the American West. He was born in Kingston upon Thames, England, in 1830. In the shadow of church spires, cobblestone streets, and the slow churn of the Industrial Revolution. As a young man, he worked as a bookseller, but books could not contain him. In 1855, he crossed the Atlantic to America, a place alive with promise and chaos. But fate dealt him a violent hand. In 1860, while traveling by stagecoach, Muybridge's life changed forever. The coach hurtled off the road at high speed, smashing into rocks. Muybridge was thrown from the carriage, his skull striking hard. He survived, but he was never the same. Doctors of the time had little understanding of brain trauma, but friends noticed his personality had shifted. He became impulsive, restless, unpredictable. He was polite one moment, volcanic the next. Modern scientists now believe his accident altered his brain, perhaps even unlocking the obsessive drive that pushed him into the frontier of invention. From that moment, Muybridge was consumed by a single desire: to capture the invisible, to trap motion itself. California in the 1870s was a land of tycoons and gamblers. Among the richest of them was Leland Stanford, railroad magnate, politician, and racehorse owner. Stanford had a scientific curiosity. He wondered, when a horse runs, do all four hooves leave the ground at once? It sounds simple now, but in his time, no one knew. Painters often showed galloping horses with their front legs stretched forward and their hind legs backward, like rocking horses suspended in the air. Others argued this was artistic fantasy, but the human eye was too slow to settle the debate. Motion blurred into a single streak. Stanford wanted proof, and he turned to Muybridge, the eccentric photographer who had already gained a reputation for capturing landscapes with eerie precision. Muybridge accepted the challenge. He promised to reveal what the human eye could not see. And in doing so, he stepped into history's spotlight. On a racetrack in Palo Alto, in the summer of 1878, the experiment was ready. Muybridge lined up 12 cameras along the track, each with tripwires stretched across. As Stanford's prized horse, Sally Gardner, thundered past, its hooves struck the wires. One by one, the cameras fired, shutters snapping faster than human perception. And then, on the developed plates, the truth appeared. In one frame, Sally Gardner was suspended in midair, all 4 hooves off the ground. The world gasped. Newspapers published the images. Scientists marveled. Artists argued. But there it was. Frozen proof, undeniable. For the first time in human history, motion had been captured in pieces. Time itself stopped. Muybridge had done the impossible, and the world would never see the same way again. But as his fame spread, Muybridge's personal life crumbled. Years earlier, he had married a much younger woman, Flora Stone. Their union was troubled. Flora found comfort elsewhere, in the arms of a young theater critic named Harry Larkins. Muybridge discovered their affair through a letter. The rage consumed him. On a cold evening in 1874, he boarded a train carrying a pistol. He rode to Larkins' ranch. When the door opened, Muybridge wasted no time. He pulled his revolver and fired. Larkins fell dead. Muybridge calmly surrendered, admitting everything. At trial, his lawyer argued insanity. The stagecoach crash had damaged his mind, they claimed. But Muybridge himself rejected this. He insisted, "I meant to kill him. He dishonored my home." In any other case, the verdict would have been certain. But the jury, perhaps influenced by his fame, his injuries, or the cultural attitudes of the time, declared him not guilty. Muybridge walked free, but the shadow of murder would follow him forever. Freedom only sharpened his obsession. Muybridge returned to his work with greater intensity. He expanded his experiments from horses to every kind of movement imaginable. Men lifting buckets, women walking, children playing, athletes leaping. But it wasn't enough to capture motion on paper. He wanted to bring it back to life. In 1879, he unveiled his invention, the zoopraxiscope. It was a strange spinning device that projected painted glass discs of moving images. Audiences gasped as shadows of running horses galloped across the wall. It was primitive, crude even, but it was magic. For the first time, people saw photographs move. In that moment, the seeds of cinema were planted. Edison, the Lumiere brothers, and every filmmaker to come would build upon Muybridge's discovery. From a man once known only as a killer came the first spark of the movies. But genius is rarely kind to its host. Muybridge's relationship soured. He fought bitterly with Stanford, who tried to claim credit for the work. He drifted from city to city, giving lectures on motion, but growing increasingly isolated. He was eccentric, difficult, and sometimes cruel. His fame dimmed as new inventors eclipsed him. While Edison and others seized the stage, Muybridge lived in shadows. In 1904, he returned to England, his health failing. He died in a small house in Kingston upon Thames, the very town where his life began. From his window, he could see a graveyard. The world scarcely noticed his passing, but his ghost lingered. Every flicker of film, every reel, every frame that moves owes something to him. For Eadweard Muybridge was the man who first showed us how to break time into pieces. Eadweard Muybridge's story is one of paradox. He was a genius and a murderer, a man broken by a stagecoach accident who stitched together the future of cinema. He answered a simple question about a horse, but in that answer, he gave us Hollywood. He gave us documentaries. He gave us every story ever told on a glowing screen. When you watch a movie today, whether in a theater, on your phone, or through streaming light in the dark, remember the man who stood trial for murder, the man who aimed a camera at a horse and changed the world. Eadweard Muybridge, the man who stopped time. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more mysteries from history's forgotten vaults, make sure to share this video with friends who love untold stories. And don't forget to subscribe to Untold History, because this is just the beginning. From lost inventions to vanishing empires, we have countless secrets still waiting to be unlocked. Join us and keep history alive.